Well, hello. How you guys doing? I'm not really gonna do any editing whatsoever for this video. Instead, I'm just going to do a quick little shoot. I just tried to do a little short, 3-minute short, but I couldn't convey everything that I was trying to convey in that little 3-minute short, but it helped me streamline and organize thought of what I wanted to say as far as what's been on my mind for a minute. And that is a term that I have heard my entire life. Everybody's heard it before, and we're always going to keep hearing it forever. People that have always lived before us, people that are going to live after us. Now, mind you, sorry, I need to also disclose something. I'm a little drunk. I am on graveyards. And it's about noon right now. Usually I'm passed the fuck out. But I am trying to get on the same sleep schedule now that I'm on vacation for Thanksgiving. I'm trying to stay up and get close to getting on the same sleep schedule as my girlfriend so that way we can enjoy the vacation together. But recently I've been hearing the perfect world, the perfect world, the perfect world a lot. And I'm not old. I'm getting old. I'm getting older. I'm not old. I have maybe a dozen gray hairs out of the thousands that I have. I don't really have that many wrinkles. I don't have really any wrinkles. I'm still, if you're almost 30 years old and if you say that you're old, you're not old. You're not old. But I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around that term, the perfect world. What does that mean? Just what does it mean, the perfect world? Now, when I was in school, I didn't pay attention to much of anything. Nothing at all. I wasn't very sociable. I didn't give a damn about academics. I was just there because I knew I had to be there. My mother was spending all of her money for me to be there. So that way I can eventually get into the workforce and start a credit score system and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, since being in school and going into my 20s, and I'm about to come out of my 20s now, but when I started my 20s, about when I was 22, 23, I started kind of thinking about, well, I don't know anything about anything. That kind of bothered me. The only thing I knew how to do was just not complain and just go to work. And that bothered me. So I started learning about religion, a little bit about history. Now I'm not well versed in anything, even workforce. I've had so many jobs. I'm a jack of trades, master of none. That's the term. That's the term I'm looking for. So I haven't perfected any craft. I haven't perfected anything. But a term that I keep hearing, like I've said before, is a perfect world. What does that mean? Perfection. What does perfection mean? Is perfection the pursuit of something that is wholly unattainable because we are imperfect beings and that everything that we do is flawed? Even as refined and graceful as it is, perfection is something that we chase. And so when we chase that perfection, it becomes more and more refined and masterful. Like knowledge, certain craft, ability, understanding of something. But what is the idea of a perfect world? When I hear people say a perfect world, they say it in ways of absence of violence, absence of death, of struggle, of conflict, absence of being uncomfortable. But these are all emotions. Does emotions play into this idea of perfection? Can you be perfect and have emotion? One thing that I did catch in this hobby of finding different things to learn was physics. And something that is extremely, almost uncomprehendable to understand is physics in and of itself. Everything that physics is as far from understanding as you can get about anything. You can understand math. You can understand what the color fucking blue is. But you cannot perfectly understand what physics is, ever. Even if you spend your entire life studying physics. It covers time. It covers everything. And that's why it's so hard to understand. It's because physics is literally everything. And you can't understand everything. It's impossible. It's imperfect. But when people say the perfect world, isn't the world already perfect? If you understand what atoms are, did you know that atoms don't die? Everything that you see and don't see has never died. Our definition of death isn't perfect. The only times atoms die is when we fuck with them and blow them up. That's the only time they die. But even then, the electrons, the neutrons, the protons, the quarks, the magnetism, that doesn't go away. It changes. Does the term perfection change? Is perfection only relative to who's talking about it? Because in some people's eyes, a perfect world is messy. Perfection is gray, it's light, it's dark. What is perfect? What is a perfect world? When someone says a perfect world, what is perfection relative to that person? Is it a universal term to say a perfect world? Say in a perfect world, nobody would be in debt. In a perfect world, nobody would have to drive anywhere. In a perfect world, we wouldn't have to eat, we wouldn't have to sleep, we wouldn't have to shit. But that goes against nature. The nature that is everything. To have the cycle of change, what we call death and rebirth. What is your guys' definition of perfection? Is it refinement? Is the ability to understand everything? That is such a strange thing to be able to say perfect. as if anybody knows what perfect is. But that in and of itself, I don't know what the word is, but that in of itself, we know that perfection is something that we will never obtain in anything. And that's what we understand what perfection is. Is it because our lives are so finite, we cannot pursue something for so long, that we cannot come close to the grace and refinement that is perfection? What does it mean to you? What is perfect? What is a perfect world? What is a perfect job? What is a perfect life? What is a perfect perception of the world? What is perfection? Is perfection understanding that we'll never be perfect in anything, and we just try anyway? What is perfection? How would you define perfection? Let me know.